come join us. So I don't have to shout.
Come close, I'm serious. I don't want you to sit all the way back.
I know you want to sit at the table, so you want to pizza.
You guys are more than welcome to stay, by the way. So we're just going to be talking.
But I appreciate it.
Help yourself to pizza.
Thank you.
My name is Brian. This is Matt.
Hi, everyone.
We've got Al and Paul over here. So the three of us have been running this small generation meetup group. I'd say in a fairly on and off sporadic basis over the past few years. But we appreciate you guys coming out tonight. Let's see. Let's talk about what this group is, what the meetup is. I want to thank WeWork and sponsors for the food, and then I'll introduce Matt.
Great. Hi.
Okay, so who's familiar with business model generation? Okay. Really think of this as a group for entrepreneurs. And business model generation is a book. It's actually a really good book. Alex Osterwalder is the name of the author. Like, I don't know, 400 people or something submitted stuff to it. So you know the numbers?
It was a crowdfunded book. There's a lot of people that I forget. There's only like 2 authors that actually finish it. But yeah, it was a crowdsourced, it's called a crowdsourced or crowdfunded book, however you want to call it, crowdsourced.
The whole philosophy is that business moves pretty fast these days, and entrepreneurship moves pretty fast. And the idea of writing really large business models and business plans doesn't really work. By the time you finish typing the last word, it's a year out of date. And what people need are tools that we can use on a very fast, iterative basis to make sense of the business side of what you're trying to accomplish. And so business model generation is a book that talks about various tools. The picture that we had up here before is one of the basics of that book, which is called Business Model Canvas, which is basically a 1-page business plan. And so we're going to talk a little bit about today. That's what Matt's going to talk a little bit about today, how he used that to basically get this movie funded, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, movies are art, but they're also business, and that's what we're going to talk a little bit about. So, why don't we start by showing them the trailer?
Cool, we'll do that. Before we do that, I just want to thank WeWork for hosting this in this great location. The firm I work for, GYK Antler, is a marketing agency. We actually have a really great video department, so if anybody needs a great video production house, it's called Big Brick. We do a lot of work for ESPN. We provide the food. I resigned from there yesterday, so I'm only there for a little while longer. But definitely they're a great team. And and let's look at the trailer, and I'll turn it over to Matt.
Great.
And what we'll do is he's going to go through a little talk about how to use some of these tools, and then depending on people's interests, we have some workshop ideas. Definitely, mostly we want people to enjoy themselves and mingle and learn. Any questions?
Right, so this is the movie that I worked on. It was a soft debut in October where we came out to a few festivals, and then it went on for sale. And we'll talk about how I sold it too, because this movie got actually money.
Okay, you're in the 18th, right?
I am.
So what about audio?
It should go through the HDMI pi. If not, it's going to be a side of the trailer.
It's going for
Oh, I don't know if it's going through your dongle. And I don't know if this TV has any volume. That's okay. Let's watch it without sound if we have to, and then I can just talk a little bit about what it is, and I can talk over it. I don't mind if there's no sound. I'll be the sound guy. I'll talk over it. So trailers up on YouTube. This one was put together by our producers and our associates. These folks are actually. So this is actually barely here. Yeah.
Chainsaw Maidens.
I'll quickly tell you, that's Lloyd Kaufman. He's a really well-known director from the 80s. He's wearing a shirt that says Trauma. He made movies like The Toxic Avenger, Romeo and Juliet, which was the James Gunn early movies, and now he's off doing more stuff. He's still doing movies, but he had worked on some of his films. And he decided to come down, and he was going to do this movie with me, and he was really funny. I mean, really just that lucked up. But he's a real supporter of independent art. So you know what? I think we see tonight. Let's just here we go.
Sarah French. And Kane Parker. Coming this fall. 2015.
So that was our trailer that came out. You can see it's very corny. It's a very slapstick comedy movie, and I'll talk about why I made those decisions to do this. My first was a very, very visceral horror where people were tortured in my basement for 2 weeks straight. And then I went and did this very funny comedy. This is much more tongue-in-cheek, very goofy. I grew up watching things like, Evil Dead and Army of Darkness, that kind of thing. And just decided this is exactly the kind of movie I was going to make for my next film. So this is my second feature. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's start with Welcome to Hollywood. We're going to talk a little bit about the business of Hollywood. It is show business. It is not show art. This is something that gets emphasized whenever you take a business class with anyone that's acumen in Hollywood. Is too many people emphasizing the art. They don't talk about the business side. So it is business, and if you don't make things balance out, you're not going to make your movie. So to succeed, you need a sound business strategy, just like anything else. There's this emphasis too much on I'm a really strong filmmaker, I have a really good vision, I have a really good heart. That's not always what it takes to succeed. There really does need to be a sound business strategy. So you need a business plan. Well, I actually did exactly what he said earlier, because I wrote this huge business plan that was like 25 pages long about how I'm going to make this movie and all this stuff. And then I read this book, the business model generation book, and I think to myself, I'm doing this all wrong. I'm making this too complicated. I can't get my ideas out. I need to make them succinct. I need to go to Hollywood and I need to pitch this idea to Hollywood, and I can't do it with 25 pages and just get that information out. Good idea isn't enough. This has actually been told to me by numerous people working in Hollywood. They are literally like, if you have a good idea, that's not enough. Just because your idea for your movie's good, you need a sound business strategy. You need to know where this movie's going to want to go. So I always tell people, it's not low budget filmmaking. Yeah, my movie may look low budget. It's not low budget filmmaking, it's efficient filmmaking. Now look at that difference there. What is the difference? Low budget filmmaking versus efficient filmmaking. We're going to talk a little bit about that, and that's just kind of a change between something that's cheap and something that's a good value. It's not low budget, it is efficient. So you always want to think about that. I think most of the businesses that I'm probably addressing, people working in startups and so forth, if you say we're low budget or we're cheap, you're not really getting the right message out. But you are efficient. You're running like no other company can run because there's two guys in an office who are working their butts off. All right, so here's my poster. I'll just quickly show you the poster. Again, that gentleman there, Kane Hodder, was in 4 of the Friday the 13th movies. He's got a huge following. We got him down for one day to shoot with us. He came in. He was really funny. He did a great job. And then the 4 Chainsaw Maidens that are on there. And Sarah French is a well-known actress too. We can talk a bit more about why we chose those specific actors for our movie. Chainsaw uses the business model canvas to create a pitch. I decided I'm going to take this book, I'm going to make it, I'm going to pitch it. It's going to happen. So I went to Hollywood and I secured a distributor. I'm going to talk a bit more about that. Now, we went to Hollywood and I pitched this idea, and these distributors liked my idea so much. They're like, great, we're going to give you an agreement to distribute this movie. So now I know I can sell it. Now I know I have a place that this movie will go and make money. Once I do that, I can raise money with investors. Now prior to that, I just have a good idea. And I can pitch my idea to investors, but if they don't think they're going to get their money back, they're not going to give me anything. So investors do not become rich giving away money. They make very wise decisions with their money, and it comes back to them. So. And now it's currently working with sales agents for worldwide distribution. That company that used to have to be in this, Adler and Associates, those folks were actually the sales agency out of Hollywood that is repping this movie and is now selling it all over the world. They're going to Germany, they're going to Cannes in April. The European film market is in Germany. They're going to take it to Toronto in September. And they're going to pitch it out and see who's interested in buying it and sell it. So we've got a plan in line for this movie to be monetized and to make money. So this is the canvas, and if you're not familiar with it, I do suggest that you at least go home and get very familiar with it. Because I'm going to talk about how I filled in each of these things and then really gave an idea of how I was going to really make this movie and use these different things. Now, a movie's a little unconventional because I'm trying to raise money, do a huge project, and then make my money back. Unlike a startup where you're kind of, you've got different paths you can follow. You can make a company really big, like Facebook, or you can sell it to a company. The truth of it is, we always have an end in mind when you're making a movie. And that end is always to sell it, to get it out, and then it's done. So it's like a project. Once it's finished, you don't really go, you don't sell the movie again to another company, or you don't get additional investors. So it's a little bit of a different animal. So we'll talk about key partners. Who are my key partners in this? Well, first was the city of Somerville. For starters, I'm a citizen there, or a resident there. I am a citizen. And they offered a lot of resources to filmmakers. They actually had their own film commission office. So it's really important to understand your civic government and know who some of your key partners are. And I'm a member of the Chamber of Commerce because I own this video production company. And I was able to find all kinds of really interesting people willing to help me with the movie because it's something they really want to get into, including bankers who offered me an SBA loan, including my accountant, including people that were able to offer me space. Now I know people with restaurants. I can find any kind of location I want in Somerville because I probably know a business person that thinks it's really cool advertising to get their name in something. I got a beer sponsor. That beer that you saw Kane Otter drink was a Slum Brew. They have 2 breweries in Somerville. One brewery and another beer garden. The 2 places you can go buy Slum Brew. You can buy it in a lot of liquor stores around here. They were our sponsors, and they threw us a huge party, and they give us a lot of free beer, so that's a really big thing. The Massachusetts Film Office also exists to give us resources. This is the film office is really there to basically provide the producers and so forth with resources to make a film, including contacts, ideas, locations, and they mostly service the really big movies, like when Ben Affleck comes here and films a film or does Townies or something. But they're also going to help the little guys, and that's important to understand. We're not so small. My other big partner is Artisans Asylum. If you don't know what Artisans Asylum is, it's this giant co-working space in Somerville in which it's a huge tool sharing shop with everything from woodworking, metalworking, fabric working, bronze making, molding, casting. If someone makes something, whether it's jewelry or 3D printing, it's probably at Artisans Asylum. Now, what does that mean? Well, I get on their email list and I can email their group and say, hey, I need someone to make something crazy. Who here makes that? I was able to fabricate and make things at a fraction of the cost it would take Hollywood to do it. They have an entire woodworking shop that if I was in Hollywood, I would be paying for a giant warehouse full of tools and equipment just to build stuff. Well, I don't need that because I'm not making movies all the time. Artisans Asylum became this huge place to find really inexpensive, really locally made stuff that isn't going to cost me tens of thousands of dollars to make. So what are my key resources? Well, I have movie making experience. I have to put that one down. This was actually my second feature. As I mentioned, I did one before. It's this heavy-handed torture film where people were tortured in government experiments. So my first film was really like people told me they walked out of there like feeling like suicidal. It was like really like heavy and hard and depressing. But I like movies like Hostel, things like that. Movies that had kind of a point and so forth. So my movie had it was a very heavy, heartstrings pulling horror film with lots of people getting bloody and beat up. But I like that too. So I'm also a stuntman. I like to sport stunts. I actually trained in Las Vegas for a number of years to do stunts. I learned special effects when I was in college, and I've had a lot of experience with directing and acting. So what I bring, don't forget to bring yourself into it. Get your own skills into it. What do you bring? Don't forget you are a key resource. So that's really important. And the reason why these are big ones is because these are all really expensive for Hollywood to do. Stunts are very expensive because you have to hire a stuntman that really knows what he's doing, or else people get hurt. Same as special effects. You want to make sure you know how to do it. It looks right. So all those things I was actually able to do myself, or at least bring my own talent to it. Same thing if you have an app company and you're the coder. right? That's your most expensive thing that you have to hire, other than doing it yourself if you're the director. So, and then there's the digital revolution. This has been going on for more than 10 or 15 years. The digital revolution pretty much made it so that filmmakers could make movies on next to nothing. It used to cost $50,000 in film to shoot a 16mm movie. Maybe more if you're trying to go with something higher quality. But the digital revolution, I can shoot with my camera and shoot for hours without ever having to lose, having it developed, have anything lost. If I don't like it, I can delete it instantly. We are only limited by our storage space. How cheap is storage space now? It is so cheap, you can buy terabyte drives at Micro Center for less than $100. And now there's a demand for worldwide content, for content worldwide. The film market's globalized. It's just like anything else, and it has always kind of been, but now there's more platforms than ever. There's everything from Hulu to video on demand to all those things that really kind of make it so that content is in demand. So, what are my key activities? Well, a feature film production for one. So, this is one that's kind of obvious when you're talking about this, but feature film production is something that if you've got experience in, is really complicated, because it's literally like trying to get dozens and dozens of ideas and things together, and then doing it all in a very short period of time and making sure nothing messes up, and then just having a big sigh of relief when it's done. So feature film production is really difficult. This is also a community project build, or I'm doing community project build. And I didn't make this project just by myself. I started to include all kinds of things, like the Chamber of Commerce, like other groups like Somerville. It's really important to connect to your neighborhood, to your city, to the people around you, because they're going to be your biggest advocates. They're going to be your biggest advertisers. They're going to be the people that are rooting for you and pushing for you to make yourself a success. Sitting in your office all day is not going to make you nearly as big as if you just get out there and start shaking hands a lot. So this was really a computer project. And I'm also an advocacy for the arts. Once a month, I do a radio show, and I bring on other filmmakers. So I'm a big advocate for other people's works, not just my own. I talk more about other people's stuff than my own stuff. Erica here was actually on my radio show a couple of years ago. Because she works and she does all kinds of film work as well. So what the thing about that is that I always tell people, talk more about other people's projects than your own, and see where that gets you. Really try that. If someone else is working on something similar to yours, talk more about them than yourself. It's actually amazing how much more people want to help you when you do that. So I've done a lot to help other people, get people talking about other people's movies. I run film festivals in and around here. So I've tried to make it a community project. It doesn't just involve me. In fact, the first time I showed my film in Somerville, my hometown, I showed it with 4 other movies by local filmmakers. Why? Because they deserve a chance to show their stuff just as much as I do. It's not always just about me. But I got to bring in all these other filmmakers, their friends and their family, and show them my movie too. So I got a nice audience that really appreciates independent films. Cost structure. We're efficient movie making. We are not cheap movie making, right? We are not cheap movie making. That's what I like to tell everyone. Efficient movie making. And we utilize personal connections. I mean, almost everyone that I hired in my crew was someone I knew that I'd worked with that was reliable and driven more by ideology. If you've been working in your industry for a while, take note of the people that go the extra steps, because they will do it for you. You don't want lazy people, but you want to get personal connections to be the people that are closest to you. And I have all kinds of city organizations, artist networks, and business networks that I could draw on. My accountant is a close personal friend of mine. Why? Because we did a lot of work with the Chamber of Commerce. I've worked with city organizations. I work directly with the film department, with Jackie Rossetti, who's the film commissioner in Somerville and the communications director. When I needed a classroom, if you saw that opening trailer, it was in a classroom. I said, I need a classroom. Where can I get one in Somerville? She was on the phone and had it for me the next day, and I was filling out paperwork and learning to be able to use it. Artist networks, and of course, being able to work at a place like Artisans Asylum and to be able to work with people. She has a great artist network here. She does the Hollywood Actors East group that she started, and that's a place where I've gone and networked and certainly met lots and lots of people. So understanding your networking is very important, and being in them, and then cultivate enthusiasm for a growing field. Well, the film industry is exploding here in Massachusetts, and I've been able to cultivate the enthusiasm that's following me. I think there's a lot of enthusiasm in startups. I think lots of people are excited about something new, something big. And so what's bigger than Hollywood? I don't know. We've seen the biggest movies out there, right? So, so we're growing here in Massachusetts. Every year we seem to get more and more productions. That's due to, I'll talk a little bit more about why. But we want to cultivate enthusiasm for the fact that, Ben Affleck shooting a movie here, well, guess what? So am I. And I'm from Boston too, so, that kind of thing. So what's the value proposition? This winds up being one of the big ones for the business cannabis people. And they're writing a whole book on it. I haven't read it yet. There's a whole book on value proposition, isn't there? I haven't seen it yet.
Most important thing.
This is the most important thing. Why is your thing more valuable than someone else's? Why is your thing unique? Why would people go for you and no one else? Well, one of the things I've told a lot of people is Massachusetts lets you cut costs by 70% over traditional filming. And I prove this to people. I prove people that you can do it 75% more efficient in Massachusetts than anywhere else. It ain't cheap movie making. It is efficient movie making when you can cut costs by 75%. It's a number that gets a lot of people's attention out of it. Massachusetts has the resources of a large and dense population of both rural areas. We kind of have almost anything. Massachusetts took off as a film area because we can pretty much get any kind of location, including Arctic tundra if you want to shoot here in February. Other than maybe like desert, I can't think of a single type of location we can't pull out of Massachusetts. They shot Ghostbusters, the new Ghostbusters movie here, so it's funny, I watched the trailer and like they're all Boston locations, and yet they constantly say it's in New York. They managed to film a movie in Boston that should be set in New York and Boston. Why? Because Boston's now more efficient to shoot in. Massachusetts has a 25% tax rebate right now. So this means everything you spend on a movie in Massachusetts, 25% of it comes back in a bankable tax rebate. So you're 25% efficient right there. So if I spend $1 million on a movie, $250,000 comes back, and I can sell that to a company for close to that amount. They'll save a little bit on their taxes. There's brokers that do this, there's lawyers that do this. The industry's in its infancy, which means pay can be traded for credit. Now, I don't like to say that I underpay a lot of my people because I give them an opportunity they're not going to get anywhere else. I'm going to take a person that, is a camera operator who does a lot of boring corporate work and gets paid well, and give them the option to be a camera person on a big feature film that they don't get the option to do all the time because, that kind of goes to the big Hollywood guys. They really want to move up. And I've got makeup people, costume people, actors, because they're really excited to be able to put something bigger on their resume than they have right now. So people are always going to want to do that. I mean, you could have someone who's your COO, right, of your company, who probably was never more than middle management. They're probably going to make less money at your small startup, but they get to put down that they're, a chief operating officer. That's a big resume builder. So never ever underestimate how much you can give a person a bump in title and a bump in credit, and it's really going to motivate them. I think Napoleon once said that people will go out and die for a piece of metal on their chest. And truthfully, I'm not asking anyone to die, but for a better title, for the honor of it, for a big resume builder, that sort of thing that you can give them that's completely not monetary, people will actually go the extra distance for it. There's low or no permits required in Massachusetts because the film industry is really, really new. You go out to LA, everywhere you shoot is going to charge you lots and lots of money because the film industry has been there and everyone's trying to milk it. You try to shoot in a little store or something, you're like, Hollywood's coming here? I want 10 grand to shoot in my little store. If you don't like it, go somewhere else because no one else is going to let you shoot there. That's why people often start shooting in places like New Jersey, like when Kevin Smith shot the Clark's little store that he was in. Because the guy didn't care, he's going to let him shoot there. LA, they'd be charging him so much money a day. All right. Value proposition, we're going to continue with this. This is the most important one. People want to have movie shot, do not see it as a cash grab. Like I said, I've gone into restaurants, I've gone into places where I've wanted to shoot, and I've been very lucky with people who've just been able and generous to be like, yeah, I'll let you shoot here. I go to the film commission in Somerville, I get a school. They charge me a little bit of money because they wanted to have a cleanup fee, a janitor to clean up after us. I said, okay, that's fine. I shot in parks, I had to have a police detail. But the city didn't charge me 10 grand or more to get a permit to shoot there. Why? Because no one sees this as a cash grab. They see it as a good thing for the community. They see it as something that can really help them out. So you really do have to look at what are you giving to the community too. And it may not be a lot, or you may not think it's a lot, but even this kind of a meetup group, something that you're doing like this, is value you're adding to your community. By shooting in a park, we are advertising for our town. We're showing people what we got there. So, and we're creating works for an international market, which is really important. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that and a little bit why this is a movie geared towards the international market. And we're connecting Massachusetts to Hollywood. Cool? I mean, come on, I'm on the other side of the country here, and yet I can say I'm a Hollywood director. I can say this is a Hollywood production. Completely shot here, completely done here. Half our budget came from Hollywood. Half our budget came from Adler and Associates, who you saw around there, who liked us enough to take it on, sell it, make something out of it. So I get to say I'm in Hollywood. I'm on the lowest rung of Hollywood. I tell everyone this, I'm on the lowest, barely noticeable rung of Hollywood, but there's only the only place it goes up, right? So customer relationships. Okay. Marketing through star power. We already introduced our stars. Kate Hodder, Lloyd Kaufman, and Sarah French. These are the big people. Friday the 13th, Toxic Avenger. Sarah French is really new. Most of her movies are really low budget, under the radar, but her star is rising very fast. I think I got her at a good time because I probably can't afford her anymore. Between these three, there's 400 IMDb links, and they have over 500,000 Twitter followers. So when they mention my movie, I can reach out and really get lots of people reach, as Kane has mentioned it, Lloyd mentioned, they all mention when I push this out, I say, hey, the movie's coming out, why don't you mention it? So they're really big, so we get lots and lots of attention. The IMDb is really big because if you want to see all the movies that Kane Hodder's in or Lloyd Kaufman's in, we're listed with them. So people often surf IMDb, going from person to person, kind of doing a Kevin Bacon type, what is that, 6 degrees of separation from Kevin Bacon. So people can do that. So our social media presence was about 400K Facebook likes, and I say that was a poor choice because we had this great organic rise when we were talking about this movie in like 2012, 2013, and right around that time they cut it off. Now you got to pay for everything. So I put down that it's a poor choice, but at the time I was talking about we have 4,000 Facebook followers, and we haven't made the movie yet. We have more Facebook followers than some independent films that have been out for years. So that was a really big thing with us, was that we had really built the Facebook page by getting people out. And it was a time when you could really do a good organic reach with Facebook, and you can't anymore. They charge you for everything. So it's a poor choice, because now when I want to advertise for it, I got to pay Zuckerberg some money so that all of my fans will actually see it. So it's kind of it was kind of like, but where's social media going? We still have a Twitter account. I thought Instagram would be a good thing. If I could have done it a little bit sooner, I would have. So my next social media plan will be completely different. But of course, my problem with any kind of social media planning is that 6 months from now, it's going to be completely different. So you got to really stay on top of it. And then horror conventions, like Rocket Shop, which is the one out in Worcester. Kate Hodder's a regular, Sarah French is a regular, Lloyd Kaufman's been there a few times. These guys go out and engage people, like actually engage their fans, take photos with them. They post these photos on Facebook, they post these photos on Instagram, they put them up there, they have their arm next to the guy, here's Kane Hodder. They're well-known and well-recognized faces in the horror community. They're real horror icons, especially Kane and Lloyd. So these guys advertise themselves, which means they're advertising for my movie every time I talk about it. So, customer segments. Well, the genre is horror, comedy, and slapstick. Now, why is that? I was going to get to this. But that's for foreign sales, because it's visual filmmaking. Very intellectual comedies don't sell well on the international market just because sometimes things are lost in translation. Sometimes jokes don't carry over. There was a joke in an independent movie where a guy says, I'm like the Red Sox with dating. I went a really long time without ever winning a championship, but now I'm on a roll. Well, that's great. Everyone in Boston knows who the Red Sox are, but what if I sell this movie in Brazil? Do they know who the Red Sox are? No. So it's not a joke that translates really well. What are the 3 B's of visual filmmaking? Blood, bullets, and babes. This is actually something that people will talk about. They'll say that your movie needs the 3 B's. Now, what does that kind of mean? Well, why does Hollywood churn out this garbage? Why don't they make better movies? Well, if I'm going to sell this in foreign sales, I have to give them what's called a music and effects track. So that music and effects track doesn't have any dialogue in it. Why? Because they're going to put Spanish in there. They're going to put Japanese in there. They're going to put Russian in there, depending on where it's sold. So they're going to put their own subtitle in. However, a good movie to sell in foreign countries is one that doesn't need to be watched with any dialogue. It's very visual. So bullets, guns, explosions, action, it's exciting in any language, right? Blood, guy with a hatchet running around hacking people up is scary in any language. Babes, hot people, naked people, it's sexy in any language. It doesn't need dialogue to explain why it's there. So movies can be a very strong visual. I think the takeaway for this for another business is, you know what? If someone can look at your logo, look at your company, and know something about it without ever having to really read too much about it, I think you're winning. And so, that's kind of the thing. Like, Apple's logo tells you, it's just an apple. It's just, but there's so much in that because they built up this logo and so much around it. And so forth. And I think they were famous for just using the logo, like, they never did much else. There's no words, right? And then you look at an iPod, and there's no buttons. Or you look at your iPhone, and there's no actual physical buttons, one or two, right? So, college students. Well, this takes place on a college campus. So, how many college students are out there? It's actually around something like 4 million college students every year. People that graduate remember their days in the frat house. So, we have a huge audience of just college students. Know your audience. Know who's going to be working with your app, know what you're doing, know who's going to be going and get numbers. If you have an app for pizza eaters, know how many people eat pizza every day in America. And football fans. The Super Bowl has the biggest audience of the year. The main character is a football player. If you saw him, he's wearing football pads. College students, football players, football people. It's huge. The NFL is probably the biggest sports entertainment group in the United States. Channels. We're going to move on to channels here. The American Film Market. I talked a little bit how I went to Hollywood. What I specifically went to is the American Film Market, which is a mall that sells nothing but movie territory rights. Sounds exciting. But you go in there and there's all these banners all over the place that have different movies. You walk around, you look in the hallways and so forth, and there are, every single hotel room has movie posters outside of it. You go in, it's like a store that sells movies for foreign territories. And other things like Hulu, video on demand type things, and TBS. If you ever wonder how those crazy movies are shown at 2 in the morning, well, they probably bought the rights to show them here. So these companies are a clearinghouse. They sell about 900 movies a year, and my movie happened to be one of them. I point out that I'm one of the 900 best movies in Hollywood for 2015, 2016. I don't know if that's something to brag about, but I mean, out of those 900 movies, I'm sure I'm somewhere in the 889 or something. But it's a mall that sells movies, which is kind of cool. And you can go there, you can talk to all these distributors and sales agents. You can make appointments with them, you can pitch your ideas. So it was literally almost like the venture capital place to go to really try to talk to people about your film. We made a deal to distribute your movie before we make it. And that's the thing about the American Film Market. We made a deal to make this because I made such a strong pitch using these ideas and speaking the language that I think really made these people interested in my movie, talking about things like my demographics, who's going to watch this movie, why is it important, how can I make this movie efficiently, how can I save 75% on the budget, how can I do a $100,000 movie and make it look like $500,000, how can I do that, and I had to explain all that as a pitch. So, and I went with IFTA, Independent Film and Television Alliance, which these are the people. And this is important. We talk about community organizations and so forth. Well, the Independent Film and Television Alliance is just that. It's a group of TV and film professionals all under one organization. Kind of like a chamber of commerce, kind of like a, any kind of business group. But they offer all kinds of protections to both you as a person working with them and to them. For example, they have to register all their sales. So they can't sell my movie without me knowing about it, so it's not going to pop up in China somewhere. And then I get no money for that. So I made sure that I had my interests protected and specifically went after those folks who would do that. So yes, good question?
Yeah, so when I think the first slide or something, you said you went to Hollywood and got a distribution deal before you made it. That's what you're talking about right there?
Correct. I went to the American Film Market, spoke with all these sales agents.
Place?
It's actually in a hotel.
Okay.
Specifically, it is in a, It is in a Lowe's hotel right on the ocean. It's really beautiful. It's in Santa Monica, and they literally turn it into a mall. Like it looks like a mall when you walk in there. You're like, there's all these different stores with their hotel rooms. You can look into the side, and like you see all these side rooms too. But for the most part, it's just poster after poster after poster after movie, or banner after banner of movies, trying to get your attention about everything that's out there. It looks like a mall.
Is it a certain time of year, or is it all?
It's the end of October, early November. Yeah, so they do it for like a week and a half or so.
Did you have the business plan that you brought to them?
I went and I basically created cards that were similar to the canvas, not quite exactly like the canvas that had sort of like bullet talking points that were like, this is here, efficient movie making, we have NFL fans, we have this demographic we're hitting, here's our social media outreach. And I really think I've really impressed a number of people, because one guy told me, like, hands down, I've never had anyone come here with this much information, and this is the kind of stuff we're looking for. They're not looking for a good idea.
So you had a plot, then did you have a full script?
Yeah, we had scripts. I mean, see, that's the thing though. Any kind of pitch you do, and this would be the same for startups, you have to give the pitch quick. Because no one's going to sit there and listen to you talk for 15, 20 minutes. But they are going to listen to you talk for 2 minutes to do a pitch. And then from there, if they're interested, they might talk to you a little bit more, and then there's a follow-up. You got to get another meeting. You got to get some follow-up. Contact them on email, send them your script, send them your full business plan. I'm not one of those people that's like, no, you shouldn't write a full business plan. I think at some point, if someone's really going to invest in your company, they're going to do their due diligence and read everything they can. So a full business plan is not a waste of time. So, but yeah, does that answer your question about the American Film? They have a great website online, AmericanFilmMarket.com. You can actually go there, check them out, see what it is, see what they're about. They actually now sell what's called a half market badge, just for people that are going there to pitch to sales agents. They do classes and conferences there. It's a great resource, and I went there twice, it learned more about the film industry going to that American Film Market than I could have in a class anywhere. Because that's the real life thing, and it changes year after year. Every year it's going to be slightly different, and slightly different, and slightly different. They don't sell porn, by the way, so it's only like actual, like, legitimate films. So that's the other thing. Like I sit there and say it's all this sleazy action and babes, but they are legitimate movies. Like they don't quite delve into that level of.
How do you know what they're looking for? Like you said, like bullets, babes, and blood, like for like slapstick horror. Mm-hmm. But like let's say you're making a romantic comedy,
right?
You know, like what they want to buy.
Well, if you were deciding to make a romantic comedy, there's a few things I would say. Like it's got to be star-driven. You got to find some really good actors. You might be able to find some older actors who are looking for some cameos and some work or something along those lines that you can pull in. But as far as a romantic comedy goes, I would say that you got to keep it fairly simple. Boy meets girl. If you were to try to do something in like today's age, where it's like a Caitlyn Jenner transgendered person, that is so complicated. And those movies can be great. I'm not saying that they're not good movies. That's not necessarily the movie that you want to go with for foreign sales. That's not someone says that's not your first movie. That's your fifth movie. Once you've established yourself in Hollywood and you can really make a movie with a larger budget, you can do that kind of really solid, well-made film that can have really good star power, that's really artistic, that people will pay attention to because you've got marketing and everything behind it. Your first couple of movies, like Steven Spielberg's first movie was Jaws, which is just a movie about a shark eating people. It was well done, but was it Schindler's List? No, it was. But Schindler's List and Color Purple and all the other movies, E.T. and all those movies, all kind of came after he was well established. So I tell people, if you really want to make art, you got to kind of chip your teeth and learn the business, and you're going to learn with explosions and blood, So and women in bikinis, it's like and that kind of thing. It's like that's where the entry level is. Can I make money with this first? Then because Jaws was just that. It was a bunch of people at the beach, women running around and getting eaten by a shark that was scary. It was his first film, and lots of people's first movies are very, very visceral like that. They start with horror. I mean, Sam Raimi, I was talking about The Evil Dead, and he went on to do Spider-Man and all these other movies. Now he's mostly producing. All right, let's keep going then. So yes, revenue streams. We have a sales agent. Well, we talked about that. I would have gone in a little bit more about the American film market, but and foreign sales. I just talked more about that. I think we were actually covering all of our things. Video on demand is getting there's more and more demand for movies than ever. Every year there seems to be a new platform. It's Amazon Video, HBO Online. Trying to think of the new ones that have popped up in the last couple of years. I mean, Hulu and Netflix have obviously been around a while. But new platforms are coming up. Mobile platforms are starting to get more and more popular. People are watching more TV on their iPad. So Netflix, Hulu Plus, HBO, Amazon. Oh yes, now go low or go blow. This is the new thing in Hollywood. This is a trend. Now it could change, but this is the trend. You either go low budget, under like $2.5 million, or you blow your budget and go 100 million. Nothing in the middle is making money anymore. This is a weird thing. And so, Avengers will make money. A $20 million plus movie will make money. Avengers, it's coming, Batman versus Superman's coming out, Star Wars movies, but I don't have $100,000 yet. So I can't go blow. I can't blow my entire company's budget of $100,000 or whatever. Basically do a blowout budget. But going low is something I can do. I can make an efficient film that's still desirable by these foreign markets and all these video on demand platforms. But by go low, they mean go less than 2 million. And more movies are getting made for around $1 million, $1.5 million now that are actually commercially profitable. And the reason is that 10 million is a hard thing to make your money back on these days because there's so much competition from lower budget stuff. In a sense, it's a two-edged sword. There's more of it. There's more competition, but it's easier to get into. The game's never been easier to get into than now, thanks to digital and all these other things. So, what am I working on right now? I'm working on a for-profit Massachusetts film fund. There are lots of places that actually have film funds. Massachusetts is not one of them. We're a growing business. There's venture capital funds all over the place. There's not a Massachusetts film fund. And I intend to change that, and I'm working with a lot of people in order to do that. I want to make a $150,000 movie that looks like it's made for $500,000. When I can do that, I can add a lot of value into a movie that really has a potential to go out and make some cash. The profit projection on something like that is around $200K to $400K. It's not a huge profit margin, but we also take into account a 25% tax rebate, which means $35K gets returned automatically. Even if I don't sell the movie, I can still bank this. We wind up having something along the lines of a $115,000 investment hitting $200,000 to $400,000 if the movie's made to something that we can get a distributor for. So that's my idea for a film fund. And I'm also working on a movie about an evil clown. So I do like all these kinds of weird films. But Jitters, The Dark Clown Begins. And this is my pitch. I'm going to read this to you because this is how I'm going to pitch this next time I go to Hollywood. Genre, clown noir. I made that up. There isn't such a genre. Witness the transformation of a simple birthday clown into a sinister, murderous supervillain. Did you know the FBI recognizes a gang of clowns? It's true. Right under the Crips and Bloods, they classify juggalos, fans of the rap artist Insane Clown Posse, as gang members. Every year, tens of thousands of these fans get together for the annual gathering of the juggalos to listen to their favorite bands, so it's no small business. Insane Clown Posse has sold numerous gold and platinum albums all over the world. Did you also know that right now over 4 million students are carrying over $1 trillion in student loan debt? So what's a clown to do when he graduates from clown college but can't afford to pay back his student loans? Jitters wanted the simple life of the birthday clown, one where he made balloon animals for kids and helped them cut their birthday cake. But when he can't afford to pay back his student loans, he resorts to a life of crime by joining the Killer Clown Mafia. Like any mafia, once you're in for life. So how to get out? Kill every evil clown in town or die trying. And here we witness the transformation and rise of a simple birthday clown into a sinister, murderous supervillain. Not because he wants to, not because he is evil, but because he has to. The harder our hero tries to be a simple birthday clown, the more he becomes the villain he never wanted to be. What I did in that is tell this is my idea for the movie, and how I would pitch it. And they start by saying, the premise isn't that crazy. This is a little weird. But there are actually these juggalos that are fans of ICP, and the FBI actually does track them as criminals. Why, I don't know, because it's basically like Kiss fans wearing makeup or something. But anyways, what I pointed out was that every year tens of thousands of these fans get together. They have sold gold and platinum albums. Their audience is not small. There's millions of them all over the world. And how many students are carrying? 4 million students. What's my audience? It's millions. I just told them my audience is millions. So, So I'm basically giving you my demographics in my pitch right there. And then I go on to talk a little bit more about the story and the idea behind it and so forth. So now we're going to move on to how to pitch. We do the title, we do the genre, we do the tagline. 1 or 2 sentences to describe the essence of the movie, and then what's sometimes referred to as the elevator pitch. 2 or 3 minutes to describe why this movie is unique and why it will succeed. Now, why is that important? Well, I would say that if you're doing any kind of pitch, you want to give your company name, what your company does, a tagline about why your company is unique, its value proposition. It's really only 1 or 2 sentences, followed by 2 or 3 minutes that you get out all the vital information that's in this pitch. You cannot do this with 25 pages, but you can do it with the business model canvas. You can take all of that information and get it down into something like this. So, my challenge to you guys today is if you want to work on your own business today, come up with this pitch. If anyone wants to do a pitch contest, I think we could probably do something like that if we want to make this interactive. But otherwise, that's all I got for you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you liked it and learned something today.
Let's maybe do a little Q&A.
Yeah, any other questions? Yeah, we got some good questions in the middle of the presentation. So.
I'm kind of curious, how many people are in the movie business?
Okay.
All right. How many people are not in the movie business?
That would be everybody else.
All right.
Okay.
How many people are entrepreneurs currently trying to start a company right now? How many people want to start a company at some point?
Okay, good. Yeah.
All right. Q&A.
Any questions? Anything?
How do the distributors place value on, like, how do they evaluate what the potential market is? I mean, I understand you're able to fairly concisely want to consolidate down who the potential addressable market is for the particular film.
Right.
Like what process are they going through to evaluate that to say, all right, fine, you know, it's the Insane Clown Posse, it's
Right.
4 million students, clearly not every, like how?
Well, I mean, they kind of know when I say something like there's 4 million students this could appeal to, not all of them are going to run out and watch my movie immediately. But they want to kind of know that there's going to be an audience, that the movie's not so weird and bizarre that it's not going to find anyone. You know, so it's like, you know, human stories can find anybody. I mean, how many people hear bobsled, but yet people probably watch, you know, the running. So it's like something like, you don't have to necessarily be all about that to see it. The truth of the matter is with the demographics, though, especially when you get with a movie, is that some people go see a movie simply because it's something about them. You know, whether it's a football movie or something like that, it has this appeal to them. Horror movie has its own appeal because it's a genre. Things like that. Sci-fi movies, the same thing. So how do they know? Well, technically, the way that they know is that it's more about money, and it is kind of, you know, how much you advertise a movie is how much you're gonna get an audience, and there's actually formulas for this. And so, in other words, if I decided to put $50,000 worth of advertising in this movie, I would get an audience of X amount. And they know what this is. Like, this is a fairly well-known formula. It doesn't always work, by the way, because they put millions of dollars into movies and they flop all the time. You know, there's a pool that they're taking Ghostbusters right now, whether or not it's going to flop based on the trailer. And they're putting a lot of money into that movie to advertise it. So, you know, so to answer your question, they're putting a large chunk of their own money into my movie, and they're making them hedging the bets that because it's this type of movie made at this type of budget with these actors, it's going to have an audience that's going to be around this size, that this many people would be interested in it. Now, the audience size is not necessarily what I'm looking to get at, because this really isn't going to have a major theatrical release. It's not going to be in every theater like Star Wars was. It's going to go, it's already had a limited theatrical release, and I could really get into what those are like. So, like, if you ever heard, you know, showing in select cities. Select cities means it's like New York, LA. It's like very few places, big cities, and art house theaters. Limited theatrical run means more theaters, but mostly smaller theaters, not really the big ones. And then coming to a theater near you, what we call widespread release, means it goes everywhere. This has had sort of like selected cities, and that's it so far. It's possible we're going to have a bigger run when we kind of settle our distribution in the end of this year. Probably around September, I'll know. But the truth of the matter is, like, how am I going to know if I'm going to have like 10 million? Like, how does Star Wars know, or how does Ghostbusters know, or how do those movies know? There's a specific formula. If you spend this much money on your star power, this much money on your cast, this much money on your production, this much money on your advertising, you should make this much money, you should sell this many tickets at the box office. It's a very non-scientific thing that backfires all the time because, like I said, some movies that are very low budget, that they didn't put a lot in, like Clerks or Paranormal Activity, makes millions. And then sometimes, you know, movies that, they chuck, $15 million in advertising, and like you see billboards up everywhere, suck, and they just do terrible. So there has to be an art component to it too. It has to be a good movie. But there is these formulas that they use, and they do actually kind of like, and a lot of it is like rules of thumb, and a lot of it is kind of gut instinct, and a lot of people are wrong. So it's not a science, but they do have ways of kind of determining how well a movie's going to do, and then it always fails. So.
Is the data that Netflix collects influencing any of that?
Oh, definitely. They know exactly how many times someone watches a particular movie, what's selling, what's going on. The American film market is incredibly trendy. I can't, like when you go there, it's really interesting to just see what trends are up. And I talked to a guy and he said, like, we don't take zombie movies anymore. If someone comes to us with a zombie movie, we just turn them away. It doesn't matter if it's good or bad. We have too many. The Walking Dead came out in, I think, like 2010, and independent zombie movies exploded because everyone wanted to capitalize on The Walking Dead's popularity. It became really big overnight. So the only movies that in Hollywood right now that are zombies are going to be licensed franchises. Like, you can almost guarantee it with huge stars. So there was World War Z with Brad Pitt, with Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. Both of them were books beforehand. And so anything that's zombie related is going to be the go big, the go blow. Because the go lows they don't want them anymore. Because they just can't do anything with them. That trend is now over. What's next? I mean, I don't know. Werewolf movies, killer dog. I don't know. There's going to be some other trend that's going to come up. For a while, found footage was really big. After Paranormal Activity came out, there was all these VHS movies, found footage movies. They were huge. They were like, it was like probably like 10 coming out a year, and some of them good, some of them awful, because they were low budget. It doesn't take as much money to make. Cloverfield was probably like the most well-known of the big budget ones, anyways. So that trend is starting to die out. You're not seeing that anymore. So you kind of have to figure out what's big in the sort of underground scene, and then try to like emulate it, because you have to kind of look at what's rising. So yeah, it's not easy. It's the same thing with apps. It's the same thing with what app next is going to hit big. Who knows what trends are going on? What's the next big website thing? What's going to be the next YouTube or Facebook or whatever? I don't know. It's a good question. Something's going to come. Someone's going to make something bigger and better. Yeah.
So you took your deck, the cards, and you went to American Film Market, pitched them. They're like, all right, we're down. Let's have a second meeting, and I don't know how many other meetings, and then finally you signed with a distributor then, or is it like?
So I did when I went there and I had my initial meeting. I then did a second meeting to meet more executives, because I met with like a assistant manager type guy. I'm not sure exactly what his position was, but he was not. I think he was acquisitions manager specifically. And they liked my idea, and I went and spoke with who was the CEO of the company. Again, they liked my idea. I followed up with as much information as I could, including sending them the full script, the agreements and the talks that I've been in with the actors, because they want to know I can get these actors. Like, they don't just want to know. So I had some
you
like,
the actors before?
yeah, I mean, yeah, because I don't just say, oh, I'm going to put this guy in my movie, then I can't get him. I look stupid. So these are all actors that I met and spoken to face to face and said, hey, I want you in my movie, and they said yes. And Kane Hodder and these guys are really approachable. I just went to Rock & Shock and said, how would I get you in my movie? And they're like, they gave me an email. And I talked to their agent. Lloyd, I actually am very close friends with because I worked on his movie. So I can call him now, because I've worked with him closely. Kane, I think I have his phone number, but I wouldn't call him just to chat. Lloyd, though, and he's a really good guy, and because I've worked with him, he's really good. So anyways, yeah, they want to know that you have all that. They do their due diligence, but there's no skin off their back when they sign a distribution agreement, and you're putting up a chunk of the money first. So we really had to put up most of the money to begin with.
Okay.
So they weren't really ready to come on board with money until we had shot the whole film. So then they were able to see what we shot, see what we had done, put money into post-production, and then into print and ad, because they're going to actually
you
do all the
funded production of the whole thing. And
Yes.
then they came in after you produced it.
Correct.
And it was like, oh, okay, this doesn't suck.
Correct.
And then they put the post-production.
Right, it's called getting finishing funds.
Okay. And then how did you find funding for production? Did you use it just?
So what I did was I pitched to, I did a different class. If you give me your email, it's on YouTube, where I did a little bit more talking to them about how I structured investors meetings. But what I basically did was I got out and talked about the movie by having parties, different parties. I said, I'm going to do an expo of my movie. And I did one at Artisans Asylum where I said, here's where we're going to build all the props. Here's where we're going to make all the cool stuff for the movie. So I did one there and I showed all these people around. And I said, look at how cool it is. If I were to try to build this in Hollywood, it would cost me 10 times more, but I'm going to build something here for a tenth of the cost. So I tried to invite people that I thought were interested in investing. And then try to just convince them that it was really worth doing. And, I did a table read of my script. I had all these people come, and I brought Lloyd. Lloyd Kaufman was in Boston, so I timed it so when he was there, I'd have him do this table script. And so he was there showing a movie in Coolidge Corner, so I brought him in for this. And one of my investors, I came in and gave him a part to read the movie, and he put money into the movie right there. So this is really cool. It's cool that you got Lloyd Kaufman. And that was a nice thing too, because I didn't have to convince him I could get celebrities in my movie. There was one sitting next to him.
Yeah. Did you sell shares for the movie, or was it just large?
The investors it's based on what they put into the movie. So each individual investor, based on their money, it's not necessarily a share. But I did not crowdfund the movie. I actually attempted a Kickstarter and failed. Kickstarter's hard.
Yeah.
It's really tough. And I think I could probably do a Kickstarter now because I'm much smarter about that kind of thing. But I was just kind of like, here's my movie. I'm just going to give away some CDs and posters, and then kind of went nowhere. And I tried to raise like 15 grand, and I didn't. The people I know that do it, it's almost like their full-time job to do it. It's really the people I know that are making that kind of money, 15,000. Or it's like they go to work, they come home, and they work on their Kickstarter all day. They do new videos every couple of days, post new updates. It becomes like a second job, but they do it. And I think if I were to do any crowdfunding again, I would really try to really make it something, with lots of effort and time into it. It's like it's a second job to crowdfund these days. Unless, some people wind up getting like a really cool product or something catches on and they make, they get their thing funded overnight. Once in a while, someone does something like that. But it's pretty rare. It's tough for the rank and file because the only people you're going after, unless you really get some kind of network going, you're only just going after your friends and family on your Facebook or your Twitter or your Instagram account. So how many people do you have with that? 700, 800, 1,000 if you've got a lot of people. So it's tougher and tougher because now there's just everyone's doing it. So, but yeah, I basically brought investors into expos, as I call them, or table reads, where I had people sitting around and talking about the movie. Brought in some of my actors to read it, and I would say, how do you get money for any business? Well, demonstrate your product in front of people who can give you money. Is there any other way? Well, that's what I did. I demonstrated the product, how I'm going to make it, or what it's about, in front of people that can give you money.
Are you comfortable talking about numbers like production budget, post-production, and then how much the distributors took, how much you wound up with yourself?
I actually cannot talk distribution numbers because I signed an agreement that I wouldn't specifically talk about them. The budget on Chainsaw Maidens, as I tell her, is $150,000. It's around that. So I cannot talk the specific deal that I have with them because it is. I can't. There's all sorts of things where you sign these contracts, they ask you not to disclose. Yeah. And a good example would be, I can't tell you how much I paid Kane Hunter. Just like, you don't tell anyone what I got paid. My sales agent handles my money. You don't tell anyone what I was paid for any reason. Yeah. Okay, that's his choice. I can tell you Lloyd Kaufman asked for a train ticket because he doesn't like to drive because he's really economically conscious because he's like an old hippie. A hotel room that was, I can't remember how he described it, but like 3 stars or better or something like that. Like you wouldn't stay in like a shitty hotel basically. Meals provided, et cetera, and then a daily expense of like $300.
Yeah.
He didn't even ask for pay. So, I mean, I gave him $300.
Yeah.
So that was all he wanted for a single day. And it was just me talking to his assistant, trying to get him to come from New York to here for a day. He had a day off to shoot a movie, and he was happy to do it. So, and again, did I get a discount because he's a friend of mine? Maybe, because I've gone down and worked on his stuff and interviewed him a couple times, and we're friendly, he knows me. Maybe. I don't know if he would charge more money to another person. I can't tell you how much this was just a personal deal with me and him, and how much of it was, this is what he does for everybody. I've heard he's done some movies for next to nothing just because he really wants to do it, especially around New York City, because his headquarters is in New York City, so if he could just take train out to shoot with somebody, he does all the time apparently, because he's a good guy like that, he wants to do it. For me, he's coming to Boston, so he wants food, he wants a train ticket, he wants a hotel. It's like, yeah, he's traveling, and I get it. I'm not going to make him come here and sleep on my couch. Yeah.
So what we thought would be cool to do, if anybody wanted to, is to take whatever business you're working on or thinking of working on or want to work on and pitch it like a movie. So I think the big lesson that I took away, we had talked about this before, and you saw it in the pitch that Matt gave earlier for what was the name?
They call it the Dark Clown. The Dark Clown Begins.
Dark Clown Begins.
Jitters.
Was the setup of the audience before the setup of the idea, right? And I think, so I've been an entrepreneur 2 times myself. I've worked on probably 6 different startups. The idea is almost always the thing that people lead with, even if you're not in the movies. Like in fact, I met a guy today who's trying to get seed funding for an app that he's building, and he says, here's what we're doing, let me show you the app, I've got like all this mock-up, what do you think of it? And I said, who are you targeting? What's the business model? How do you expect to pay for this? Like, I have no idea if these are good features or if this is a good app. I want to know about the audience you're going to.
Good idea is not enough.
And so that's one of the core tenets of business model generation and of lean startup and of all these methodologies is really focus on your audience and what their needs are and what's that kind of minimum, essential product you can deliver to them. Because if you get that right, it's a lot easier to make a product that fits than developing something in your mind. So we thought this was a great story that kind of complemented that. If anybody wants to do that, is there anybody who wants to do that? Who wants to, you don't have to get up here right away. We could form little groups. You could talk about it and come up with something. Or you could get up here right away and give it a try.
Pitch your romantic comedy.
I don't have a romantic, it was just for great ideas.
Anybody want to do it?
Not now, great idea, man.
Okay.
Not now?
No? Okay.
No? Okay. Anybody else? Okay, so we won't force it. Any other questions?
Yeah, anything else?
About Matt or about anything else?
Where'd you go to school, Matt?
I went to Fairfield University, which strangely is a business school that I didn't take any business classes at.
In Connecticut?
In Connecticut, yeah.
I grew up next door to that.
Oh, where? Trumbull. Oh, Trumbull, okay. Bridgeport is usually where everyone says they're from if they're near. Trumbull, yeah, I used to go to Trumbull Mall. But yeah, Fairfield, and they do have, and I was a visual performing arts major. So basically I went there and learned a lot of the technical aspects of visual events. And my full-time job is I'm a lighting designer. I just lit the Green Monster yesterday at Fenway Park. We turned it green for St. Patrick's Day. It was already green, but now it's glowing green. As it has never glowed before. It looks like a giant emerald bar. So that was what we did so my company does lighting, audio, visual, et cetera, all over the state, all over, and I'm in charge of all the lighting for New England, so that's what I do for a living. So I have the nice thing is I have a full-time steady job and can make movies in my spare time, and the company actually is very cyclical, so it's very slow. It's much slower in the summer and in the winter, and much busier in the spring and the fall. So even when I was doing this stuff freelance, I could take chunks of time off and not really have it affect my income because it's slow enough that I can tell my work I need to be gone to go shoot a movie for 2 weeks.
What was the duration, the timeline from when you started the idea for the first, or the film you were talking about?
That actual movie, I think I wrote something like in 2008, and then shelved it and filmed my other movie because I thought it was going to be too ambitious. And I'm glad I did because I learned a lot shooting a $1,500 movie where I borrowed everything and shot it in my basement and edited it. And that movie came out in 2011, and And so from 2011 on, I was only working on Chainsaw Maidens. And the timeline was, we got a lot of the business plan stuff done in 2011, 2012, I went to the American Film Market, pitched the idea, got a distributor, raised money for investors. My plan was to shoot it in 2013, and I didn't because my father passed away. He was given like a 6 months to live type thing. It was lung cancer. He died in August of 2013, late August, which pretty much killed the window because I can't really shoot a movie in the winter around here. I'm certainly glad I've never tried. So I shot it in the summer of 2014, and then took me a little over a year to edit it as a feature film, and it debuted in October of 2015 at Rocket Shop, which is the Worcester convention for horror movies. It was great because you get to pack it with horror fans and see your premiere. And then we did some more soft openings, which was kind of like local, small, low-key showings in and around New England and Somerville in that area, because I was running a horror show over at a big Halloween show that I do at the Armory in Somerville, so I showed the movie there, along with a whole bunch of other horror movies for the month of October, which is really great because we have a whole month we can dedicate to horror, which I'm not sure if other companies can say, I've got a whole month that everyone gets geared towards this one holiday that's kind of, that pitches them towards, which is why I love horror. It can sell itself 1 month a year really, really well. So then the thing was at the end of October was the American Film Market. At that point, my producers in Hollywood basically said, we don't want you to show it anymore. We're going to start to limit how much it's shown. We're going to control it a lot more. And I have to say, when you sign with these folks, they do own your movie. I mean, it's kind of heartbreaking, but they changed the movie from, I always called it Chainsaw Maidens from Hell. They changed it to Chainsaw Maidens. Just Chainsaw Maidens. And I was like, the From Hell is funny. And they said, if you put From Hell in a movie title, it automatically is rated R. And I'm like, it is? Well, there's a movie From Hell, and I think it was rated R. So they were like aiming to try to get this PG-13 because it's got a bigger audience that way. So they they officially call it on, I think, their trailers and the IMDb, which they all now control, Chainsaw Maidens. If they really wanted to, they could re-edit it. They said that anyone they sell it to could re-edit it. Walmart is famous for taking movies and taking out swearing, nudity, all the bad stuff, and then selling like watered-down versions of movies. Someone told me like the most absurd one was that like they like watered down The Godfather, and I was like, first of all, there's not that much blood in it, but people do get killed, but there's some swears in it and stuff. And apparently, if you bought a copy of The Godfather from Walmart at one point, they changed the movie. And Francis Ford Coppola basically was like, well, I didn't agree to that. That's not what I wanted. But he doesn't own the movie anymore. Once he makes it, it's not his movie. Which is why you see director's cuts all the time. You see director's cuts of movies because the director made this movie, sold it to a distributor, sold it to somebody, got some distribution deal, and god damn it, they cut his movie and changed it the way they wanted to do it, and it probably sucks now. And the way the director wanted to do it was really good. Blade Runner is probably the most famous. They have a director's cut of Blade Runner that's much better. There's like a director's cut of Aliens that I saw, and sometimes the director's cut of The Abyss, which is a movie, it's like this underwater movie, came out 15 years ago, a long time ago.
That makes sense. The director's
cut makes sense. The actual movie doesn't make any sense. Yeah. It's like when you go back and watch the director's cut, you're like, they completely eliminated an entire story arc. And I can't figure out why. To this point, I'm like, it's actually a pretty good movie if you watch that version. So director's cuts wind up being this like, this sort of side thing that the movie's way better if you watch this version of it, which seems so weird. Like, there's times that I think distributors know what they're doing and times when I think they don't. They don't know what they're doing, when they alter someone's art, but they know what they're doing because they know what the business market will hold. And if it means cutting a movie, often it's length. Our movie's an hour and 15 minutes or so, which makes it a 75-minute feature, which means I can put it in a block of about 90 minutes with commercials. They often cut movies because then they can put them on TV with commercials and show the whole movie. So sometimes there's even a TV cut where they cut even more out. So deleted scenes happen all the time, and it's more time constraint. The other thing too about movies is that you can really only do like a 3-hour movie, and some people try and it's really hurt if it's something like Lord of the Rings, because they know they'll sell a lot of tickets. Otherwise, they just want to get people in the movie and out. So an hour and a half movie for an independent movie is good. A 3-hour independent movie sucks, because unless you have a lot of money to advertise for it, that means less people churning through that cycle, and that's what movie theaters want. So distributors cut movies all the time for arbitrary reasons. They're like, we need to shave off 3 minutes off this because that's what this person wants, that we're selling it to. What scene do we want to cut? Well, this one doesn't need to be there. And then you're going to be this. It doesn't make any sense, because they probably cut that down from it. I think the director's too loud or something. The Lord of the Rings, as soon as about the special editions, they're already 3-hour movies, and they're like 3.5-hour movies when you get the special editions. I can almost guarantee you that they were like, Peter Jackson, keep it to 3 hours, because we gotta get people in and out of the movie theater. There's only people come in here, we want to get the other group that's going to buy popcorn and drinks, okay? Because that's where we make our money. We want to just churn people through. And Lord of the Rings, luckily, had clout behind it, and they could pull that off. And some of the longer movies, the Adventures of Superman, where they could get lots of people in and out of the movie theaters. But time is money, and so is space with those guys. So, any other questions?
Why don't we,
Distributors have ever asked for raw footage?
What?
Distributors ever ask for raw footage?
Oh yeah, all the time. They want to know how you're doing. They're like, can we see what you're working on? Can we see completed scenes? Can we see what stuff is starting to shape up to look like? Yeah, so I mean, the nice thing is that it's really easy now. One time you probably had to be in Hollywood to do any of this stuff. I can just throw this on a YouTube channel. I can throw this up on Vimeo, and they can look at it and go, oh, that looks good, or no, that looks bad. So they definitely are constantly wondering what you're doing. And like they want a timeline too, because they're like, well, when do you think this will be completed? When do you think? And they're pretty patient. And they checked in once every month or so. They weren't like, and I kind of give them an update and think, okay, great, this looks good. Yeah, keep working. I mean, I never got discouragement, which was nice. They didn't know that looks awful anymore. Every now and then they pointed out something like a sound flaw, or some weird thing. Which says, oh, let me take a look at that. And sometimes it was something legitimate. Sometimes it wasn't. But
Related to like Vimeo, then what are your thoughts about direct downloads then, like direct sales, like using their? Where does that fit into like your next movie?
I mean, there's some people who are like making a movie and trying to throw it up on YouTube to either monetize it or do like direct downloads, because there's some services now online that will do that.
VHX and like VHX and others.
Yeah, and I haven't heard anyone actually making money off of that yet. Like, the people that I know that do music, for example, and were saying that like one of my friends had their music actually being shown on Spotify, and they're kind of like well known. They're called the Versa Contrast. They're a well known band around here. They got up on Spotify and they're like, oh yeah, like we get paid something like, some ridiculous like $29 a month because our song is on Spotify. Well, you can't live on that, So it's like, the money that they're making on some of these really small platforms doesn't seem to be fruit to bear. And so I'm not necessarily sure if there's a platform that I can throw a movie up online and then the downloads are going to offset the $50,000 I spent on it. So that means I got to sell like 25,000. I got to download. Someone has to download it. 25,000 people need to download it. That may change because people's tastes change all the time. Right now, Netflix is the dominant thing. I think we have a lazy generation that wants to sit in front of the TV and just click the buttons, and another generation coming up behind them that's going to always try to find the next thing. It's because it's going to be their thing. More and more stuff is coming up, more and more people are watching. It was something really odd, like I was reading somewhere that now people check their TV to see what's on almost as much, they check YouTube to see what's new in their feed as much as they check to see what's on television. Like there was some sort of weird, and I believe it because I checked YouTube because I had subscriptions to see who's uploaded a new video that day and if it's something interesting to watch. So I'm like, is that replacing television right now? Is in 20 years from now, we're just going to have subscriptions to small content alongside our big content? I don't know, because that stuff is so expensive to make. It's very expensive to make Star Wars. It costs hundreds of millions. So you're not going to see a Star Wars on YouTube where you're just getting it for free. So there's got to be some money exchange, or you're not going to have big, huge productions. And yet everyone's more and more demanding cheaper and less expensive stuff because I can entertain myself by watching YouTube videos of cats all day, or I could watch something.
Do you think though that if you had been, I would assume at this point you have, a following from the couple of films that you've made so far. Like if you had gone directly to your audience and asked, not Kickstarter style, but like, look, I have Louis C.K. style of, I produced this thing, I put it out there, pay what you want models. Like, I'm curious to, like, distributors take a huge cut of the profit
So I know what you're getting at. So before we signed the final agreement, because they wouldn't sign the final agreement until they saw a final cut, I took preliminary cuts and I announced on Facebook and a couple of other places, we're going to do a limited run of DVDs right now. But we sold like 100. I can't remember how many, but I had to go back and buy more DVDs several times. We sold a lot at $20 a piece. And I just said, anyone wants a DVD, I'm going to, not only did I scribe on it, Chainsaw Maidens from Hell, so I get a printer that does that, I also put their name on it and a number. So this is getting, and one guy, I literally posted that on the Facebook page. I had a message, it couldn't have been more than like a minute later. The guy's like, I want number 1. I've already sent you money on PayPal. Make sure mine's number 1. He was like, I'll pay. So he's got number 1. This guy's got number 1. So I did reach out to fans in that sense, and my reach, I sold about 100. I mean, probably maybe a little bit like 80 or something, I forget. But then it becomes a shit ton of work because I have to. Because what was cool was I did think it was cool was that I did print their name. Everyone got a really like cool collector's item. So their DVDs all have their name and stuff on it, which is And I gave a whole bunch of those to key production people, including my accountant who let me use her office, and Kane Hodder got one signed by the cast because he couldn't actually make the premiere. Stuff like that. Like, so I made some very special ones for those people. And then everyone got their name on it and a number. So numbered 1 through, and I forget where we ended up, somewhere in the 80s, I think. But my point being is that one guy advertising on Facebook or something is not going to make back the budget of his money. And those were my hardcore fans, and I think they really appreciated me doing that.
Right, but you made the economic trade-off, and you were like, all right, relinquish control, I don't own the rights anymore.
Right, I'm not going to sell this movie to someone in Brazil, but my agents can, or Germany, or Japan.
And you don't think that you could do that because?
I don't have the connections, and I'm not going to go to the film markets and sit there and talk to people. The other thing, it's really weird what sales agents do in movies, and it's very odd. But what they do is you go into each of these things and they sell about 10 movies, and they're mixed movies, and they have an action movie, a horror movie, a romantic comedy, a kids movie, Gumby type, cartoony movie type thing for kids, and they'll have these 10 different movies, 10 different genres, sometimes mixed movies, and they'll sell them as a package deal. So they're like, all right, you want 2 action movies, 2 horror movies, a romantic comedy, 2 kids movies. They'll put them on this package and they'll give them a discount. So if you buy all these movies at once, you get a discount. They're salespeople. I mean, they're wholesaling, right? So they will do that with this group, this chunk of films. And sometimes they'll say, okay, well, we'll do. You don't want all 10. We'll do 5. We'll do 5 for a deal, and instead of taking 20% off, you do 10% for 5 off. So they're wheeling and dealing, right? I can't do that with one movie. You know what I'm saying? And then the other thing that they're trying to do is they're saying they're gauging the market with new movies. So they're going to go out there and say, what would you give me for this film? Now, territory sales are interesting because some of them are as low as $4,000 and some of them are as high as $50,000 for low budget films. And so if they sell to Uruguay, it's less money than if they sell to Germany because the scale of the economics is considerably different. And that goes for low budgets. Now, higher budget movies, obviously, it's a different scale. It's always a different scale when you scale up. Where I think I said I'm the lowest rung here. So I'm getting these low deals. So I can't do what they do and wheel and deal like they are, even if I were to try to contact them. The second thing is the Independent Film and Television Alliance does something that I will never be able to do, which is offer translation services to all of their distributors to help them out. So most of the people speak English, which was interesting. Even the buyers that I kind of interacted with, people from Japan are speaking English, people in Spanish. but I can't come up with a contract from my lawyer in English and Spanish without me charging a lot of money. So they actually have a fund to do that for for those people. So, I mean, again, I can specialize in one thing, like making a movie. It's harder than specialize in the sale of it. You know, it helps to know how to make this. Almost every one of the people that I know in that realm, in that making the movie thing, they are, had some production experience at some point in their life. They were on a film set, they worked film sets, they did stuff. But it's pretty rare that I find someone who's totally business and says, I want to get into the movie business. They just don't, because they don't, it's such a weird animal to deal with. But it's fun, I think it's fun. I think lots of people think it's fun.
Hey, I want to make sure that I say, first of all, thank you to WeWork, and thank you to my company, GYK, who bought the food. If anybody wants to take pizza, whatever's left over, please have some, take it home. Thank you, Matt, for this talk. This was fantastic. And feel free to hang out, drink some beer.
Right, yeah. I haven't even had a beer yet. It's St. Patrick's Day. Yeah. Feel free to talk to me. I can give business cards if anyone needs one.
Thanks, everybody.
Great.